Hi Lorenza, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us from the EIHA today for our webinar. Thank you for giving up your time, and I'm really interested to see what you guys have going on. There's a lot of buzzwords going on in Europe around hemp and CBD at the moment. So first of all, if you wouldn't mind, in your role as Managing Director of the EIHA, the European Industrial Hemp Association, please tell us what it is you do and what you represent and what you stand for.
Yes. Hello, thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure. So the European Industrial Hemp Association was founded 20 years ago in Düsseldorf. And now to one year ago, we opened a secretariat in Brussels to do advocacy and lobbying towards European Union institutions. So the European Industrial Hemp Association defends both farmers, the one that grow hemp, and processing companies, so the companies that process hemp into food, into feed, into construction materials. So we cover all the plants. We push forward at the European level the so-called whole plant approach, which means that we want to use the whole part of the plants, especially the upper part of the plants, which is one that is kind of problematic nowadays, but we can discuss that later, because we need this money that came from the upper part, from the flower and the leaves, to do some major investment into the fibers part of the plant. So to create wonderful things like plastics or construction materials that performs very well, or textile. We should rebuild. We deeply believe in EIA that we should rebuild and relocate the supply chain in Europe, and we need to do it now. On top of that, hemp is very good for the environment. So not only for the economy and the rural areas and the agriculture as a general, but for the environment, because it cleans up soil, it captures CO2, and et cetera, et cetera. So we defend all these interests of these operators, mostly from Europe. We count today nearly 300 members, and we are active in because of this whole plant approach, we are active towards many European policies, starting from the common agricultural policies. We have some interest there, till the labeling, I would say, the regulation, which covers the label of the final product to consumer. So we have quite a broad understanding. And that's why we opened the secretariat. There is me as a managing director, and I have 3 colleagues now. There is Francesco, who is dealing with the below part of the plant, the agri issue, and then Victoria, communication, and then Monica, she just joined as personal assistant and office manager.
Great. So it sounds like you're doing amazing work, you know, with the whole plant, looking at the whole plant and not just looking at it from an aspect of focusing on CBD in particular, because obviously, as we know, there's so many benefits to hemp. But tell us just very kind of, if you can, in your own words, about the kind of the sector itself, the hemp sector, and how vital that is across Europe, because it's a big industry now.
It is big, but we can be so much bigger, I would say. There are many investors that are waiting to have a clear regulatory framework. And this, of course, is the big threat for big investments, because if the rules are not clear, the big players will not play. So the market is growing if the only figures that I have that I trust is the one that I produce at the association. And I know that today in Europe we have 50,000 hectares, but I know as well that in 1919 there were 3,000 hectares. So the increase is 600% in 10 years, which makes hemp one of the most profitable crops. Can you quote me another crop that has such a big increase and benefits, and it's worth enough money to deserve to be cultivated? It represents a real good income, additional income for any farmers. It can be used as rotational crops, etc. So the market, is it growing? But again, no legal certainty, no big investors, no big money to develop. And let's talk textile. Do we want to cultivate hemp and to make t-shirts from hemp? We need to relocate the supply chain from outside Europe, inside Europe. And this deserves investments, and a lot of investment, because the cortication line Well, it's worth a lot of money. So again, what we are asking within EIA is to have the access to the whole plant, because the upper part of the plant, it makes sense, is an additional income that will stabilize the market and will attract.
So over the last few months, we've been hearing a lot about, CBD.
Yeah.
The last few years, 2 years, it's been novel foods. Then the last few months, we've been talking about this new word, narcotic. What is going on at a European Union level, and why is, as an organization, is the EIHA worried about CBD potentially being labeled a narcotic across the EU by the EU Commission?
So you quote only the last 2 episodes of this saga. This saga starts back in 1997. Well, in 1996, during this year, the European Commission decided to commit a study, to launch a study in Europe, to grab some figures and information about how much hemp and food derived from hemp there is in Europe. So they get the figure from the market, they analyze the figure from the market, and in 1997, the European Commission sent an email, sorry, not an email in 1997, but a written letter to the European Industrial Hemp Association and other operators saying, following the survey that we conducted in Europe, we know that there are several tons of this product on the market. Therefore, we believe that is food and not novel food. Why 1997? Because this is the famous year when they launched the novel food regulation, etc. So because we got the green light from the institution, the hemp sector was created and many investments have been made so far. And then suddenly between 2018 and 2019, most precisely in January 2019, the member state consult and came up with a decision. They want to change the catalog. The catalog, the novel food catalog, is a non-legally binding document. However, member states use it as a tool to understand if they can sell this, if the food business operator can trade this product or not. So in January, they said, attention, it's not food any longer. No, sorry, there is one more episode. Before this change in November, they said, wait, not all products containing CBD and hemp extract are traditional food. They recognize a naturally occurring level around 2014, 16, etc. They recognize this naturally occurring level, and they are saying, if the food business operator respects this level, let's make it simple. We have 3% of the CBD in the plant. We find 3% in the chocolate. That's food. On the contrary, if the food business operator enrich or isolate the 3% up to 99%, this is novel food, because we were not able to isolate before 1997. We were very happy with these entries. And again, the market get reinforced because there was legal certainty. And then again, it came January 2019. In this moment, they said, fibers, okay, seeds, okay, leaves and extract and flowers are novel food. We advocate a lot towards commission, basically saying that we would prefer the previous entries, so the naturally occurring level. We believe that these entries reflect what there was on the market and what there is still on the market. But then, therefore, we decided to go under the novel food application, under Article 10 of the novel food regulation, only for the enriched and isolated product, because we acknowledge that this category is novel. So we plan to collect nearly 3.7 million of euro, because we understood, after having spoken with EFSA, with Commission, that what is going on is member states are not sure about this product, and they want to be sure, and we have to prove the safety of this product towards tox studies on CBD and THC. If we will perform these studies and we will be able to come up with a reasonable daily intake that does not show any effect on human beings, this product will be authorized on the European market as novel food. So we engage as the European Industrial Hemp Association, because even if I'm a simple association and not a service provider, we estimate that if EIA was not doing a joint application, most of the European operator would have been left out of the market. Because there are very few companies, especially now in Corona and economic crisis, that they can afford this kind of studies. So we said, we run the studies for you, we collect the money very easily. Based on the turnover, the companies pays a fee to the European Industrial Hemp Association, and we run the toxicological studies in their name on their behalf, because EIA members became automatically shareholder of the property right of the toxicological study that we will conduct. However, this process will last 2 years, not because we are lazy, but because we cannot squeeze the toxicological time of conducting all the tox studies.
Sure.
But however, not all the results will be available in 2 years. We will have some results that will arrive probably beginning of next year, of already tier 1 of EFSA could be ready. And then we will see till which tier we have to go, because EFSA say there are 3 tiers, 3 pillars, let's say pillar 1, 2, and 3. Probably pillar 1 is enough. They believe that these tox studies are enough, or they said there is something that we need to prove more. Let's move to tier 3 and tier 2, and tier 2 contains other toxicological studies. So this is what we are conducting. So it's very ambitious, because if you read the regulation, they said 1 application, 1 product. I'm doing 4 products and 150 companies behind me. So the logic seems strange. However, when I got members or other journalists asking for this question, I always invited them to have a look at the Novel Food Union list. It's not a catalog, it's the Union list. And then to Google green tea leaf extract. If you go down this botanical and you see the ratio that the Commission and EFSA agrees on this botanical is the same ratio that I will use for my joint application. What does it mean? We establish a maximum level, option 1. Option 2, we establish a range. From A to B, it's safe because I've tested it. So it is feasible, of course, and what I believe is the contrary, is that the more we are, the more strong we became, because in front of the European Commission and EFSA, before blocking 1 company, before blocking 150 companies trying to stay on the market by producing studies and science, it will be probably more harder to kick us out compared to another novel food application company, probably. So this is the idea. We are an official EFSA stakeholders, which means that we hold kind of seats in discussion with EFSA, and of course we are in touch with the regulatory bodies. We are in touch as well with FSA, because even if now FSA and UK is still Europe, it will not be the same starting from 2021. And therefore we are as well in discussion with FSA. So
what about the discussion around the narcotic word then? What are you hearing about that? Because I think that's more,
you're right.
The last 3 or 4 months, it's throwing a spanner in the works really for many, many companies, and a lot of people are getting quite worried about it now. So what are you hearing about that in Brussels?
Yes, as you can see, my brain stopped as being novel food. I don't want even to consider to be a narcotic, but that's how it looks like, because in July 2020, the European Commission addressed some letter to the applicant under a validated novel food application saying we put them on hold because we don't know if it's narcotic or not. As you can imagine, this is the disaster. This is the end of the European market. So we will be, as a result, we will be the supermarket of other continents. And so we worked very hard. We tackled this issue by implementing different actions. The first one, we raise awareness within the European Parliament, and we managed to ask a member of Parliament to write a letter about these topics, to collect signature, and to address this letter to Commissioner Kyriakides, which is the Ministry of Health of Europe. This letter will be sent out latest in 1 week, and we collected quite a good number of signatures coming from other MEPs. So now for one time, it's not EIA asking, the European Parliament asking. We met the Commissioner Kyriakides cabinet. We met other cabinet, and we plan to meet some others. So the one that are involved into the so-called inter-service consultation. So now there is the preliminary conclusion, is not legally binding at all. Now the Commission said, we stop, please send us your ideas. Do you think it's narcotic or not? So now it's up to the stakeholders and the operator. Of course, as you can imagine, I reacted 1 week after with the legal statement to Commission. They collect the information and they are not ready with a decision. I assume that a decision might come before the end of this year. It might be a coincidence, but the UN vote took place beginning of December. So hopefully we will have a positive, I mean, what I want is that the preliminary conclusion will be thrown into the basket saying we were joking.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot that's probably going to come out next year between, you know, the novel foods application deadline and this kind of discussion that's going on now around narcotics. Realistically, what do you think is going to happen first half of 2021 with all of this? It sounds messy.
I cannot reply because it's so crucial, this point, because this point can decrete the death of the market. So if by the end of the year, as I can imagine, a decision will come, it will be vital to the existence of the market. So probably I'm dead in 2021. Probably I got understood as a plant, as a potential, as a green recovery, tools, as a whatever you want. And then I will be backed up by Europe, and Europe will take not the lead, but will simply allow the market to continue operate based on their green light back in 1997. We don't have to forget as well the Canavape court case. The Canavape court case is the decision between a company and the Court of Justice. The preliminary conclusion is not called preliminary conclusion, but the outcomes of the Advocate General was in favor of the free circulation of CBD and hemp-derived product within Europe, so against France. Now we have to wait the final decision that will come on the 19th of November. So you see, there are too many variabilities to
make any predictions right now. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you had, if you were someone based in North America, South America, and you were looking to kind of invest in the European hemp market, what would be kind of the things to watch out for?
First of all, doesn't matter if from US or Europe, I will not create my business model only based on isolated CBD.
Okay. So
the kind
broad
of
spectrum.
this raw material collapsed, and we have too much isolated CBD coming from US, Europe, or China. So I would go for a full plant extract, which is much more interesting from a healthy perspective. If I need to invest on Europe today, I need a pre-market authorization at least for novel food.
Okay.
So probably I will wait a couple of months to see how it goes, but otherwise I will make sure that I join a consortium, or if I have the budget, I can launch approval on my products. Otherwise, join a consortium like my solution. At least I'm not selling, I mean, I'm selling my solution, but simply because I do believe it's the cheapest one. I'm not making €1 out of this consortium. I'm only collecting money to spend money on the behalf of my members. So it's a genuine and pure support to my members, more than an economic revenue for the European Industrial Hemp Association.
Before we wrap up, we have to mention the B word, Brexit. Obviously, you're in Brussels right now. I'm here in England. What does the future of the kind of market look like with the UK being geographically so close to the European Union, the transition period ending at the end of this year? What do you think is going to happen? Are we going to see two very different markets, a British market and a European market, or do you think we can still all work together?
I cannot imagine any UK market, CBD market or hemp market only trading with US. I mean, we are quite attractive as a continent, as consumers, because we are wealthy. We look at this, it's in our trend. The average of salary is interesting. So we are an attractive market. So of course the rules have to be harmonized. Now, I mean, UK has been using these guidelines, rules for a lot of years. So it looks a massive job now to create a new market. So I will imagine that they will do kind of copy paste, or at least, I mean, the market worked well. The European market is a wealth market. So they might use some guidelines. However, they will be more free. And we have seen it last February already, when the FSA said, up to 70 mgs, you can stay on the market, just go under a novel food. You see, the path already was a little bit different, but it cannot divert so much from the rest of Europe. What is safe for UK consumers is safe for European one. We have to prove the safety, it doesn't matter where we are. So I can imagine a market that could develop quite strongly, that could be so smart to believe in hemp, because member state could be potentially so rich to buy taxes all this product. We want to be taxed. We want to have rules. We are asking for rules, and we want to pay money to the taxes. I mean, what's wrong? On top of that, we help the environment. Bees loves us. I can quote you thousands of applications that we can make out of hemp. So it's crazy. And again, everybody here speaks about Green Deal, but I cannot imagine a Green Deal without hemp. We are not using pesticides, we're not using fertilizers. We can prepare healthy food, cheap, affordable. We can have a supply chain. We can create rural development. So the approach has to be holistic when you think about hemp, and it will be a successful market but I'm confident, because I know that innovation is faster than regulation. So they might catch up. And I hope they're going to be smart to catch up quite fast, because we need regulation.
That's very true of the CBD industry in particular. You know, the politics behind it, the regulation behind it, they're playing catch up to a very immature market that's getting very mature very quickly. So we'll have to see what's happening. Is there anything else you would like to mention from your point of view to tell our viewers, particularly in the States, about
don't forget cosmetics.
Yes, that's true, actually. Causing
works. Leaves are okay. You can extract, you can use hemp extract coming from the leaves into cosmetics. So it's always, we have been speaking about terrible things, me and you. So at least let's say that causing is working. And as you can see, my country, Italy, recently took a decision that all the products are medicine, and then the dry flower can be sold. But at least they make it clear that cosmetics is allowed in Italy. So this market is growing very fast, cosmetics, attention, and big brands are looking into cosmetics, because, as you see, is the most stable one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's clear rules, it's very clear what you can and cannot do.
It's written in a catalog. Mm-hmm. You can extract from the leaves and you can put into cream. It's written, people believe in it, so they invest the money. It's like the sector in 1997.
Full circle. Well, thank you so much for taking part in our webinar on behalf of the EIHA, the European Industrial Hemp Association. It was really good to talk to you, Managing Director Lorenzo Romanese, and we will speak to you again soon from Brussels. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Goodbye.
Hello and welcome to this panel discussion, everything a consumer needs to know about CBD. What important things does a consumer need to know about CBD? So maybe I'll ask Moira first, as she has the CBD brand.
Okay, it's an important question, Bill. First of all, CBD may not be for everyone. For example, if someone is pregnant or breastfeeding, then there is no safety data on CBD. That doesn't mean it's not safe, it just means that the data is not there. Therefore, it's inadvisable to actually take CBD at that time. And there may be other reasons why. I would also mention that CBD should not contain THC, which is the psychotropic cannabinoid. And this is of real concern whilst the market is not regulated. So I'll come on in the next section to the licensing program that we are going through at the moment. Thirdly, the health benefits of CBD should be available without THC. And then lastly, people should be aware that there is an upper recommended limit of 70 milligrams per day. So that's about 28 drops of a 5% CBD tincture.
In terms of advice, I think it's very much down to the individual consumer. Now, Moira touched on the maximum daily dosage or usage. We can't refer to dosage because it's not a medicine. So we give some sort of clear guidance on the amount of usage that the consumer should take. But I think it's very much down to individuals and their endocannabinoid system and how each sort of sample that they take, how that interacts with them personally. So I think consumers should really experiment. Start with a low dosage, a low concentration of CBD in terms of if they're new to the category or to the industry, as it were. Start off with a 2.5% or 5% type of a product, and sort of start slowly and work their way up.